What I'm doing here with Oberon is practicing gentle restraint. So gentle restraint can be really useful for any time you have a situation where your horse hasn't been fully trained to handle that situation. In this case, Oberon has an eye injury, and he hasn't been trained to have his eye flushed, and so we wanted to get flushing done today for his own welfare. And so gentle restraint is basically horses knowing how to yield to pressure and being comfortable with being held back from moving, even if it's in a situation where they don't quite feel comfortable. And in these cases, you really want to make sure to have practiced this and gotten this horse really good at this prior to trying to use it. It can be used in a wide variety of situations, but horses, of course, are going to react very strongly if suddenly they're getting tied down. So here he's just being asked to yield very gently to some nose pressure via the halter. Okay, and then we actually switch to combining that with the thing that he's never been trained for, which is flushing the eye. So you'll see that I'll reach for the halter, and then I add a little bit of that liquid just near the eye, and he backs up a little, but I keep that pressure on him, and he stops and kind of relaxes as I let go. Okay, and he gets food afterwards to help counter-condition the response, regardless of the behavior that he does. And we really want to make sure that these are very, very mild responses. And here I'm going to just kind of re-ask for that, and you can see he nicely bends in his head, and we put the water near the eye but not in it, right? We want to slowly build him up to the actual behavior you want. So here we've practiced that a bit, and the camera fell over, but this is what we got to. And you can see he's bending his head very nicely in towards my hand, and he's got a little bit of worry, but he's not tossing his head up or panicking at the gentle restraint, and it's allowing me to flush his eye out, despite the fact that we haven't done any training with his eyes at this stage in his life. In this next moment, he gets a little worried, and you'll see his head kind of goes up. So instead of trying to go and flush at this point, I'm just going to re-ask for that gentle movement of his head and re-establish that, hey, I would like you to yield, and it's not always going to end up with the flush to that eye. And you can see his next response is much, much better. Again, this was for an emergency situation. So when I had the time, I went back and I trained him to turn his head into the palm of my hand. And then I was able to administer the eye ointment that the vet prescribed and do so without any restraint whatsoever.